Welcome. Thanks for inviting us here to talk a little bit. And we're going to cover sort of product prototyping and sort of the foundational pieces of getting a prototype product together. My name is Matthew Monte. I'm with Monte Consulting Company. We primarily work in marketing communications. As a result, we're dealing with people developing their products, looking at how to communicate about them, bring them to market, get them usable, and get proper documentation in place for them. So as a result, we're often working with companies who are in the prototyping process, and a little bit of my background and what we'll cover here is sort of running through creating your first prototypes, setting up the supply chain, what's your prototype and what is your product going to be dependent on, setting up some sort of manufacturing process and defining that, inventory management, and starting to look at channel distribution, meaning now that you've got the product defined, how do we bring it out to the market? My background on this, back in 1988, I built Saturn prototypes at the Engineering and Pre-Production Build Center down in Troy, Michigan. Saturn, unfortunately, the brand has been lost. But as a result of that, building those prototypes, I got exposed to some of the problems and issues and successes that can result of that very early on. After that, I went into engineering, and after some engineering degrees and communications work, I started selling custom-built manufacturing systems. As a result, we built almost prototype-level machines, about one a week. So our production rate was about 50 machines a year. So we had to develop essentially a new machine, an updated design, a custom-configured design about once a week. So as a result, this process of understanding the user, configuring the design, developing the solution, selling the solution, building the solution is sort of the space that I've lived in. So what I know well then, of course, is fabrication. These are fabricated machines, the process of getting organized for assembly, machine parts, bringing that all together and selling that. That overlaps then into engineering and product design, sales, marketing, communications. As a result, I then started a business in marketing communications where we manage the communication end of this process, but also influence and look at the whole product development, because communicating about the product, defining the product, both involve a lot of listening, and that's what we do a lot of in sales. Currently, I have 2 hardware products, 1 software product in development, so I'm an active sort of person involved in this world, in this space, and look forward to discussing it. So defining then what's a product, how do we sort of say, if we're going to talk about product, well what is it? You know, it can be say it's anything that's made. Well, that's true, but you could make something that doesn't actually ever get seen or purchased by a consumer. So defining really what that is, and my own personal definition is a suitable solution with recognizable value. It has to be suitable for the use, for the user, for the audience, however you want to define that, and it also needs to have recognizable value. It can be valuable, it can be good, it can be useful, but if people can't perceive that and see it, then you really can't sell it. So as a result, it's a matter of designing the product from the get-go, from the prototyping stage forward, to have what I'm going to call perceived or recognizable value built into its design. And then the second thing is, it's a solution. Well, it's a solution to what problem, or what set of problems, or what problems that arise under what conditions. And so defining what it is and where and how that's going to be used is a crucial first step. So that question of the solution to what problem ends up being sort of what we define. What is the purpose of this thing? And without defining what problem we're solving, there's a good possibility of mission creep, that the product ends up being good for more than one thing or too many things, and it ends up being feature driven because we could add those features but not necessarily what's needed or desired or perceived as valuable by the people that are going to be purchasing it. And then that big question is, who has this problem? Where does that problem exist? Where in the market? And this is a question of what's the gap? What problem's not being solved well by somebody else? Or how are we going to approach that problem in a different way so that your product isn't identical to someone else's, but you've got some clear competitive advantages upon which to build that? So what's a product? Again, suitable. It's the right product for the right people at the right price and so on, well configured, and it's the perceived value that matters often more than the actual value. Okay, here's a difference in perceived value. If I prevent a fire by fixing an electrical problem before a fire starts, I've done my job. If I run into the building after the fire started and rescue all those same people, I'm a hero. What's the better solution? It's better to prevent the fire, but the perceived value is very, very different under the circumstances. So it's a question of not only knowing your product, but how is your product going to be perceived, and when and under what conditions will someone invest money in it? Would they invest money in preventing a fire, or will they invest money in rescuing someone in a situation? So all these factors need to be sort of played into what I'm going to call the value proposition of what one is creating and prototyping. So understanding why did someone, and one of my favorite questions is, why did someone do that? Why did you create this? Okay, people approach us with product ideas or with products, and one of the things we want to do is sort of piece together what's driving this development. Okay, often it's an individual that has an idea. It's often a good idea. It's often an idea that has merit and value, but it isn't necessarily being approached for reasons that will allow it to succeed in the long run. I confront this with myself, because there's products that I want to develop. If I want to develop them, I'll slowly start to build reasons that I can defend as to why I should develop this product. Okay, but it's often in the back of my mind, there's reasons I won't divulge. So this is sort of the philosophy of what's driving this. And if a person isn't honest with themselves about what's driving the development process, it's a recipe for problems in the long run. Because if you don't know your own real reasons, then in many cases one's relationship to the product, to the company, to other people and customers gets sort of convoluted. So as a result, to me, it's the big reminder that a product is not a business. And what do I want to have? Do I want to have a product, or do I want to have a business? So what I've had to do for myself is give myself the opportunity, almost like a vacation, to develop certain products, even if I know I don't want that business. Because I need to do that. I want to make that thing. Once I've got it in my head, it's like a painter. They got to get it out on the canvas. Well, for me, it's that thing that I want to build. I just want to build it. And in the past, I used to try to say, well, I want to get a business going so I can build this thing. Well, maybe I just need to build it because that's what I need to do.